Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Al-Azouzi from easymedicaldevice.com. And today we have with us a person that will help us to understand what are the best ways to approach regulatory affairs when we don't know anything about regulatory affairs. So for that, I have with me Karandeep Badwal. He approached me, so it was a good way also for him to discuss with me. So and he told me his story, and I was saying maybe it would be great to also share that with the people and to see if we can help other persons to approach regulatory affairs. So Karandeep, welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast.
Hello, Mani. Thank you for having me on. So shall I start by introducing myself?
Yeah, sure. It would be great for people just to know more about you. And then, you can tell us more about your story and also help more people to approach regulatory affairs then.
Okay, not a problem. My name is Karandeep, and I'm currently a regulatory contractor specializing in the medical devices industry. In terms of my educational background, I studied a bachelor's in pharmaceutical and cosmetic science, and then went on to study a master's in pharmaceutical quality by design. However, in spite of that, I have been working almost exclusively within the medical devices industry. And obviously the purpose of today's episode and why I'm here today to speak with you is I know how challenging it can actually be to get into regulatory affairs. I mean, I faced that proposition myself. Having graduated university in 2015, I knew that I wanted to get into regulatory affairs, but I know there's certain obstacles and there's times of uncertainty, and it really does help if somebody is there to guide you to get into this industry. As I face those challenges myself, I know what you need to do to make the most of them, to actually get into this industry, which is quite a good industry to be in at this time as well, especially with things like the MDR, Brexit, and all these various other changes. It's almost like we have to start to learn the industry again. I mean, these new regulations are coming in, nobody's worked to them. So it really is a very good time for somebody who's quite new to this industry to come into it, as we're all in a position right now where we're having to learn something from scratch.
So great. And as you've said, so there are so many changes actually within this industry that everybody has to learn again from zero. So then it's, I think, the good time for them, and also to help to grow the market, to help to put compliant medical device on the market for that. So just one thing. So where are you located?
I'm currently located in the United Kingdom.
Great. So Brexit is hitting you hard. Is it correct?
I don't think a single conversation happens today without the word Brexit coming in. It's everywhere in England.
Great. Yeah. So it can be also an opportunity for more work to learn another regulation that will come with Brexit. So it's also, I think, something interesting. So during our discussion, we had we looked again at your journey. So what you made to arrive to where you are now, and from that we get some kind of good tips, if I can say, for people to approach regulatory affairs when they don't know about it, when they are maybe students, when they are starting from zero. And I think it was really an interesting discussion, and I want really to share that with people. And from that, I think we get 3 ways to approach regulatory affairs. I'll let you then explain that to the audience. So
that's fine. So the way I break it down is we have 3 different things. Number 1 is education. Number 2 is experience and volunteering. And number 3, this is the most important one. If you get this right, you will do well in life, and it's networking.
Great.
Those are the 3 main ones. So to break it down, I'll start off with education. Number 1, Easy Medical Device Podcast. I mean, Mania, what you're doing here, you're bringing in a lot of people in from the industry. It's giving us a brilliant insight as to what's actually going on. I mean, just listening to this podcast alone would give you a very good idea as to what's happening and the challenges that we're facing within the industry.
So I think it's so just from my point. So I never paid you for saying that. So thank you for that. But as I've said, so I'm trying really to provide value to people, to tell them exactly what is this industry, to I hope make them like it and want to be working for medical devices as quality and regulatory affairs person. And I think it's something that I'm trying to really to do with those people. And not to provide just information about the regulation, but also bringing people like you or people like other people just to come with more information about human resources, recruitment, about new technologies, about things. So I hope this is really helping the audience and helping you to learn more. So I think, education. This podcast is really a good education tool. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So, I mean, going from the podcast as well, number 2 is LinkedIn groups. There's so many specialized LinkedIn groups, whether that's medical devices, regulatory, quality, and there's some very good people there who share sort of very high value articles and things like that, where you can actually go and see what they're about. I mean, some people aren't sure what quality and regulatory is. The best way for you to learn it is to be part of these groups. Make sure your alerts are turned on. So every single day you can sit down and read through the different articles. And within maybe 1 or 2 weeks, you would have a very good understanding of what quality and regulatory is. And the next one is TOPRA, so the Organization for Professionals in Regulatory Affairs, which I'm sure you've already had somebody in the podcast.
I had Samantha Alsbury. I think, if I remember, it's episode 21, where we talked about how to master regulatory affairs, and I think it was also a good resource. So Samantha, if you're listening to us, thank you for that. So she provided a lot of information about how to be educated in terms of medical devices, in terms of regulatory affairs, medical devices and drug. And TOPRA is also a good resource for that, yes.
And also following that, we have also RAPS, Regulatory Affairs Professional Society, which is something quite similar to TOPRA as well. I mean, I know they have memberships as well, but if you go onto their website, they do provide a lot of free resources and articles, and obviously you can sign up to the newsletters. And you will learn a lot from regulatory affairs. I mean, that's what these bodies are basically for, just dedicated towards regulatory affairs. And also from that, they also have a lot of e-learning courses as well, a lot of studying online. And TOPRA as well actually even have a master's in regulatory affairs. So maybe if you're a student, you want to do a master's degree and you want to get into regulatory affairs and you're thinking, okay, what should I do? Quite frankly, that a degree in regulatory affairs is probably the next best step that you can actually take to go out and study.
Yeah.
And number 4 is the MDD and the IVDR. They are freely available online. You can go online, Google them and find them. Sit down and read the 170 odd pages that I believe the document is. I mean, everybody in the regulatory industry has been doing it, and that will give you a very good insight as to
just one thing maybe to say to people: you have to read it 10 times or 20 times maybe to get really understanding all of it. So it's something that don't read it just once, because after you read it a second, third time, you'll discover still things that you say, it's new. I'm still discovering things, just because people are asking me questions for the MDR and IVDR, and I say, oh, really? It's written that there? So I go there and I read it. Oh, yeah, it's true. It's written that. So I think reading that is also a good resource. I also try to provide also some summary for those information on my blog, so easymedicaldevice.com. So I hope this is also something that is helpful, because I know that it's difficult sometimes to interpret the regulation. So having, as you mentioned, reading also those LinkedIn groups, looking at the free resources on TOPRA is helping also to interpret, because I think we also had the episode with Eric Volbrecht, where he said a sentence that was really funny, where he said that the European Commission tried to write the MDR or the IVDR on a way that it satisfies everybody. So it's really something that can be so, you can interpret it on many ways, so it satisfies everybody, which is not really the best thing for the industry. But I think it's something that we can help you to interpret, so by providing some articles or some guidance on our websites.
Okay, and then we go on to the next point now, which was number 2, which was experience and volunteering. Number 1 is work experience. I know as a student, you come out of university, you don't have any work experience. You're thinking, okay, what do I do? Most universities now would have you do something called a placement year, where it's between your second and third year, or maybe just after you finish your degree, where you maybe work a year in the industry. I mean, okay, it may not be in the medical devices industry, it may be in pharma, it may be in food, it may be in something else, but you should not discount it. Go out and get that work experience. Regulatory affairs in some way or another is in every single industry. Okay, it may not be stringent in some, but there's definitely transferable skills that you can get from a placement year. And the way that I see it, if I was hiring somebody and I had a student with 1 year's experience, maybe if it was in something else, and a student with no experience, I would definitely pick a student with experience. So that's something you can do.
Yeah.
Number 2 is obviously,
Just to comment
Sorry, go
on
ahead,
that,
man.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's true that that I had the opportunity also to hire some people, and I had some people that were more in the pharma industry, so drug. It's not really the same industry as medical devices because the regulation is different. But as I said, as soon as you know how to read the regulation from one industry or the other, it can be maybe easier for you just to switch. It's better than somebody that has no experience at all with the regulation. So I think it's really a good point that start somewhere, start with any industry that is regulated, that you can show that you know how to read a regulation, you know how to implement it, you know how to create the procedures and everything. So I think, yeah, don't stop yourself just saying, yeah, I go to pharma or I go to food or I go to another industry, so I cannot come to medical devices. I think it's a wrong way to think.
And that's a perfectly good example. I mean, even my degree backgrounds are within pharma, but then I've gone on to work in the medical devices industry. So, it's something that does happen. People do switch industries, and it's something that's quite common. So it's not something to fear.
Good.
And also, summer internships, that's another one. Another thing I know with students, I was a student myself. You finish, you get your exams, you want to go on holiday, you want to enjoy yourself, and you've deserved it if you've worked very hard and you've managed to get yourself a degree. But by all means, please consider summer internships. If you really are keen to get into regulatory affairs, I mean, that is a brilliant way of doing it. Summer internships, the competition is a lot less, in my
Okay.
opinion, and you are more likely to actually go out and get them. And a lot of companies out there do that, whether that's pharma or medical devices or even food, they will always have some form of summer placement. Failing all that, just contact the companies. There's no harm in just sending them an email saying, look, I'm a student, I've just finished this degree, I really want to get into regulatory affairs, I really like your company for whatever reason it may be. And then, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually got yourself a summer internship. I mean, if you're offering your time to actually go out and work with the company, there's no reason they will turn you down. And by all means, that's the best way to go out and learn, is to actually go out and do the work yourself.
No, it's clear, and sometimes it's also a good opportunity because sometimes they have then an open position, and then they say, okay, we had you maybe during 2 months during the summertime, it worked well. We see that you are learning fast, so maybe we can consider you for a junior position within our company because we had one opening. So it's yeah, it's I will not say it's a lottery, but yeah, you have to put many efforts to contact many companies. I think when I started, I contacted around 500 companies and only one accepted me. So it was a long journey, but at the end, yeah, it's something that we all experience. So you just have to contact companies and try to make it happen. It's your choice.
And I'll go on from that. It's volunteering as well. Don't be afraid if it's an unpaid position. I can understand. I mean, of course, everybody has different costs and things like that. But if you can do something for 4 to 6 weeks, even on a volunteering basis, it's still something. And I know TOPRA have a volunteer scheme as well, and sometimes even hire student ambassadors. So that's
Okay.
something that you can do. So why can't you be that individual that introduces TOPRA into the university? And by you being a volunteer and going to TOPRA events, you would actually go to see other professionals in the field, and you can start networking. You can start getting to know them. You say, hey, I'm the volunteer here or something. They say, you know what, contact me in a couple of days' time. I may have something for you. That's a very good way of actively networking. And
Yeah.
that's my third point that I'm about to go on to.
Yeah. So just before that, so I had a comment also from I had interviewed also on this podcast Angelina Hakim from Q Unique, and she told me once that she sees more and more people contacting her just to volunteer. For working with her at Q Unique, which was surprising for me. But she said, yeah, mainly the people are calling me and just saying to me, yeah, I want to volunteer. I just want to work and to learn, because I think it's also a good strategy just to get some experience in your CV. As you have no experience, usually the companies are saying, yeah, we are not hiring you because you have no experience. But just by volunteering, you can increase your experience in your CV and say, yeah, I worked on this, I worked on that. I know about this regulation or this regulation, so which can be a good start for you. So yeah, as you said, maybe it's unpaid, but at the end you have to build on the long term. You should not think about the short term, but really on the long term. And I think it's a good way to start. So networking now, third one.
Networking. So this topic here, the best resource online at the moment, in my personal opinion, is LinkedIn. The
Okay.
beauty of it is you can connect with industry professionals and you've never met them in life.
Okay.
Where in history have we ever had a resource like that? And a lot of people, it's a shame, are not really sort of using this resource properly. The thing I get from students is when I tell them go out and open a LinkedIn profile, they go, oh, well, I don't have any experience, so what am I going to put on my LinkedIn page? That's fine. Put your education, put down there you're a student looking to get into this industry. And then people that are actively have searches up on LinkedIn, whether that be recruiters or companies, are actively looking for individuals like yourselves who are students. If you don't have a LinkedIn page, they're never going to find you. And that's what I say to students.
And it's true, because even me, when I'm trying to look for somebody, the first thing I go is LinkedIn. I go on the search bar for LinkedIn, I put the name of the person, and I try to find it. When the person is not on LinkedIn, I'm suspicious, to be honest. It's like, what's going on? You are not on LinkedIn. It's strange. But I think it's also a good point that for students, yes, open a LinkedIn account, go make fill all the information, fill your profile, and connect with people, connect with on the LinkedIn group, etc., and try to connect. You have the networking, the real life networking, but you have also the virtual networking, and I think it's working very, very well. So yeah, please open a LinkedIn page. Connect with me also. I will accept you, no problem. Connect with all the people that are coming to this podcast. They are always accepting people to join and to discuss with them. So yeah, I think it's one of the first thing that you have to do. Even when you will start education, when you will start volunteering, I think the first thing you have to do is really opening a LinkedIn account.
100% agree. I mean, the reason we're here on this call today is through LinkedIn. That's where I found you. That's where I found this podcast. If I never used LinkedIn, we wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. So as I've said, so you approached me through LinkedIn and you told me about your story. So it's how this started and how this podcast episode was planned. So yeah, if you want, contact me and we can discuss if you want to also to tell your story. So no problem.
So following on from that, I go to LinkedIn groups like I was saying before, but not just joining LinkedIn groups. You might want to join MDR, medical device, regulatory, but start commenting. So somebody may have an article, like we say with MDR, is something new to us and we may not understand something. Maybe you have a different interpretation of it. By all means, if somebody says, what do you think of this rule of the MDR? What do you think this means? Even as somebody who may not have a lot of experience in the industry, you may see it a different way. And start contacting me and start connecting with people, start commenting on their posts and things like that. And then that way you start building a relationship. So people see you as that person who's within that group, is always commenting, always sort of messaging us or something like that. Going on from there, you can connect with the person. You can start personally messaging them on LinkedIn saying, oh, I saw your post last week on this. I don't understand this part of it. Could you please explain it to me? And then slowly you build a relationship with that person, slowly over and over time. And then once you have that relationship with the person, you can obviously say to them, hey, I'm a student. I finished 3 months ago. We've been talking to each other over time. Could you help me? And then that person may turn and say, you know what, I've been talking to you for such a while. We've built a good relationship or something. I will refer you. But then at the same time, if somebody just messages you and they've never met you in life, you've never heard from them before and said, hey, can you find me a job? You're going to be like, okay, I don't know this individual.
I have this many times, people contacting me and say, I need a job. Do you have a job? I say, I'm not a recruiter. I have no open position. I'm just, trying to help people, but I'm trying to put them in contact when I have some relation. But to be honest, there is an example I'm always using. I'm here. I heard that, I think, from somebody that said to me, if somebody come from the street on the street and ask you, would you marry me? You don't know this person at all. You never seen this person and you have to trust this person and do things. Would you do that? And my answer is no. So mainly it's the same thing in LinkedIn. When people are coming to you and just say, find me a job, it's like, okay, I don't know you, who you are, what are we doing here? So it's like, and on LinkedIn also there are people that says, put me a referral information, put me the thing that, I'm a good guy and this and that, but say, I don't know you, guy. I cannot put my trust on somebody like this. So yeah, please, do what Karandeep just said, build a relationship. Don't just try to connect with people and ask them to already help you on something that is really huge, if I can say. Finding a job is huge. Just by doing that, but really by also connecting, by explaining what you are doing, by making a relationship, by talking to the person and not just coming and say, do this for me, do that for me. So I think it's a good point.
So following on from LinkedIn, I say university lecturers, I mean, you're in a privileged position where you have some of the most smartest individuals and you see them there on a daily basis. You have their email addresses, you have their phone numbers, you know where their offices are. okay, I agree, these lecturers may not necessarily be within regulatory affairs, but they have a lot of industry contacts. They have taught thousands and thousands of students. They talk to companies on a regular basis, or even through their own work experience, they have a very huge network. If you approach your lecturers and you say to them, look, I want to get into regulatory affairs, I can guarantee you at least one of them will know somebody in that industry. So even if they themselves can't help you, they can maybe give you a contact. And it might be a friend of theirs, and through an introduction, then they're more likely to help you. So then this person may say, oh, I know the manager of this company, maybe they can help you. The lecturer will contact them. They've already got that relationship, so it helps you get your foot in the door. And then obviously it's then up to you to make that contact with them. So that's one thing that you should have. Number 3, going on from that, is university alumni schemes. A lot of universities have alumni schemes in place. So that means when you have finished university, they may be keeping contact with you, maybe have some sort of professional working groups where students that were once of this university get together. They usually meet in major cities or maybe where the university was based. But if you contact a university, I'm sure they might have something in place. And number 1 that I say about university alumni schemes is please do not discriminate against the individual in regards to their background. I mean, if you have one guy in engineering, another guy who's a mathematical engineer, you might think, oh yeah, maybe they can't help me. But how do you know? That person may have friends in the regulatory industry. They may have a family member in there. If you approach that individual and you let them know what you want to do, they may say, oh, my friend over there went into regulatory affairs. Maybe I can put you in contact with them. And that's what you need to do. Don't think just because somebody's not from your industry that they can't help you. Yeah. Everybody has their own set of friends, their own network. So approach them. The worst somebody can say to you is no, and then fine, you move on. You haven't lost a single thing.
Exactly. So I think every person knows another person who knows another person. I mean, they have a lot of friends. So it's how the social media also is working. Because, for example, when you put a post on LinkedIn or on social media, if it's an interesting post, they can share that also with other people. So it's also something that that could be interesting, and not thinking that just because it's not the same industry, they don't have maybe a person who can help you, which is I think a good point. Okay, something else?
And number 4, I go into professional bodies. So we can go into the likes of TOPRA, RAPS, or even notified bodies, companies like BSI. All through the year, they are hosting events, different places that they go into, whether it be medical shows. What is stopping you going down there and just introducing yourself to these individuals? You say to them, look, I'm a graduate, I want to get into this industry. These people are well connected with a lot of the companies. They are connected with thousands and thousands of different companies. Fine, they may not have something for you. They may say, do you know what, send me your CV. If I come across a company who's looking for a graduate, I can put you in place. And these people have very good contacts, but it's all up to you to approach them. If nobody knows you're looking for a job, nobody can help you find one. So you need to get your name out there.
Yeah, and how do you do on a trade show when you are going and try to discuss with somebody you don't know? So do you have a technique maybe?
My technique, I'll just go over to them and I'll say my name. So I'll say, hello, I'm Karandeep, how are you? And they tell me their name and we just take it from there. So I'll say, look, this is my educational background, or this may be my experience. I'm very interested in working in a company like yours, or if not, there's something in the similar industry. Do you know anybody who can help? And in most circumstances, they say to you, okay, I don't know anybody at the moment. Here is my email address. Please send me a copy of your CV and what your knowledge is. And then maybe I can send it around a few people that I know. It's very rare that I get somebody saying to me, no, I can't help you. In most circumstances, always, please send me an email and I'll see what I can do for you. And in some circumstances, I've had people email me, sometimes even a year later, say, hi, Karandeep, you approached me at the show. A friend of mine is now looking for a job. Are you interested? So it just builds that relationship. And then over time, you get like all these people who know that you're actively looking for work, and every single time they get a job alert, they'll send it your way. So there's no harm. It's just easiest way of just approaching somebody is the simple thing. Say your name and what you're about. That's it.
And I think the fact that they meet you at an exhibition or a trade show where it's specialized on the area like medical devices or regulatory affairs or quality, etc., they recall you, if I can say, they remember that they met you there. So it's also something that is interesting. Instead of just receiving an email from somebody and saying, I like your company. Can you hire me? So I think it's also another method. So it's a good one.
And another trick that I like to use as well, once I've met the individual, I will either send them an email saying, hi, it was nice to meet you, talk about what the discussion points were, or even connect with them on LinkedIn. So when you've now connected with them on LinkedIn, it's somebody who's personally met you in the past. So when you message them again in the future, they've said, oh yeah, that's that guy who approached me at that show. And they're more likely to respond to you that way.
I think you can offer also during the trade shows, you can offer also your services or your volunteering, if I can say, to people to say, if you have a question on this or on that, so you can contact me and here is my address. Or I think it's also a way to show that you are here to help and you are here to support, which can be also a great method. So I think we have here a lot of things that are really interesting for a student to start. Is there something else from your side?
What I can actually say is, well, I think it goes without saying, please make sure your CV is as good as it can be. I mean, you can apply for all jobs in the world, but if you have got spelling mistakes in there, your CV is not correctly formatted, you're not going to get yourself a position. It's going to be very, very unlikely. So make sure you're getting your CV as good as it can be. Or even still, this is another one. If you find industry professionals or something like that, somebody with plentiful experience, and you built a relationship with them, why not send them over a copy of your CV? They see hundreds of CVs on a daily basis. Say, please, what do you think of my CV? Maybe they can offer you advice. So these are individuals who have hired people in the past. They know what they're looking for, and they can give you the best tips to make sure you've got the best type of CV, not just overall, but for regulatory affairs. So they can tell you what industry professionals are actually looking for.
No, it's great. I think it's really great. CVs are, for now, I think CVs are the first kind of information that people are looking for. But also showing or looking at what you are putting online. If you are active also on LinkedIn, if you are also putting some posts, sharing information, I think it's also something that people can recognize and remember that, I know this information because I received that from this person. So at one point at the end, they will recognize you as not an expert, but somebody that is really providing the right information, right document, and who is really knowledgeable. So, and people will follow you then also. So it's also important. So we talked a lot about LinkedIn. I think, LinkedIn is really one platform that is really key for people to go there, to update the information, to share with people, to know what's happening also in the industry. Because as soon as you are connected with a lot of people within medical devices or regulatory, then all what they are putting on LinkedIn, you see it. So you are also informed yourself about things. So I think it's a good approach. So people, please open a LinkedIn account and please connect with people and provide the right information for them, so they can really reach out to you. They can know exactly what you are looking for, what you are doing, how you can help the organization. Okay, so Karandeep, thank you for that. So what can you do to help our organization or our medical device community? What is your ninja skill?
Ninja skill. So I'm a regulatory contractor. I specialize mainly in post-market surveillance. I dealing with things from the MHRA, anything to do with notified bodies. Also specialize in technical files as well. I'm quite happy to convert technical files from MDD into MDR, which I know what a lot of companies are looking for. And I'm always on the lookout for projects. So if there are any companies out there looking for regulatory contractors, feel free to contact me. And likewise, if you're listening to this call and maybe there's a question that I haven't answered, feel free to connect with me as well and maybe see if I can find an answer for you.
And I think the best way to contact you is LinkedIn, I suppose.
LinkedIn again.
So anyway, I will put all the information on the show notes about your LinkedIn account, so that people can contact you directly. And what we can then say is, please also don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that it can also grow, and provide me also a review, please, if you like what I'm doing on the podcast. So provide me a review. It's really, really important because the platforms are really looking for that to rank you high, so that it can reach more people. So thank you for that, and thanks for the reviews I already received. I will maybe on 1 or 2 episodes also mention some of the reviews, because really it was really great ones. So thank you for that. And please also on YouTube, you can also subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I'm starting also currently to have some courses, some webinars that are starting to be popped up on my website. So if you are really interested, you can go to school.easymedicaldevice.com, and then you can also see some of the webinars that are in collaboration with some organizations. So It would be also great because it's for experts, or for people that really want to be expert on some fields. So there are some specialized webinars, some webinars that are really focused on some topics. So the next one, there is one, for example, about quoting for medical devices. There is other ones that are there. So you just have to go to school.easymedicaldevice.com to see what is available. Okay, so Karandeep, thank you for your time. Thank you for all the information that you provided. And I wish you a nice day.
Thank you, Munir. Thank you for having me on.